Hello, I'm Bill Culpepper. I'm a deacon serving in Brunswick, Georgia, and I am the Hinton Ambassador for the South Georgia Annual Conference of the United Methodist Church. I wanted to share just a little reflection about my time and my experience with the ministries of Hinton. It actually started when I was a youth minister at a previous appointment. I had a man come to me from the church who said that he had just gotten back from a mission trip and really wanted to kind of do that again in some way in the church and find a way to get the whole church interested and excited about missions. And I told him that I've been trying to figure out a way to get the youth more involved with the bigger church. And maybe we could do something that combined the two ideas. And so from that conversation, what was born was an intergenerational mission trip. And it's something that the church that I was a part of still continues to do to this day. Now I'm at a different appointment down in Brunswick, Georgia. And the trip was such a great success in Macon, where I was in the previous appointment. I wanted to try to replicate it as much as I could down here. In Macon, on that first year, we simply called Hinton and said, we had this idea. We want to be able to do something with our entire church, or at least from teenage years and up, so on a mission trip, but we don't really want to go too far. Is there a way that you could help us out? And Hinton said, absolutely, because we were calling to try to find something during the winter. And Hinton's kind of peak season for missions is during the summer. So they just said, come on, we'll help you with everything that you need. We'll provide tools, we'll provide spots that you can work in, we'll cook you meals, we'll provide the dorms for you. Just come on. And we just went. We took a group of about 15 that first year, and it just kept growing and growing and growing from then on. And then when I moved down here to Brunswick, I called up Hinton and I said, hey, I've been doing this trip with you. I know you by now. You know me by now. Can we do the same kind of trip again, but with my new appointment? And they said, yeah, come on. And so we picked a second weekend to go up there during the winter with my new appointment to then do mission work up in the North Carolina mountains. So Hinton allowed me personally to pick 2 different weekends for 2 different churches to work in missions up there. It's an amazing experience every single year, and it's something that I look forward to every single year. I talk in my reflection, and I'm not sure where you're going to read it or where it's going to be posted, but I talk about how it makes me think a little bit about the story of Jacob wrestling with God. Not necessarily the wrestling part, but more about how Jacob, before he went to meet his brother Esau, before he went to do the next big thing in his life, he realized he needed a moment by himself. So he stopped and he sent all his family ahead of him and took this night to himself to get ready. And so that when he would then meet up with his family the next morning, he could then be ready to lead them into what the next big thing was for them. Hinton to me is like that moment when he is asleep and he has this real experience with God because he separated himself from everything else. Whenever I go to Hinton, I always try to make time to sit on that hill on the outside of that back porch and just look over the lake and the mountains. I live at the beach now, which of course is beautiful, but there's nothing like those North Carolina mountains. Hinton allows me to get away into something that's a little bit unfamiliar so that when I come back to the church, to my group, to wherever it might be, I'm centered and I'm prepared. And really for our church, if you think about us being the ones who are getting back together to do the next big thing, Hinton has really provided us an outlet to get together to experience true community amongst ourselves so that when we can go back to the church, the local church down here in Brunswick, we're no longer kind of this, the youth are over here and the young adults are over there, the kind of retirees, they're someplace else. Instead, what we see is people stop and talk to each other in the hallways. We see people who never knew each other's names actually have real conversations in the church. People check in on each other. I've had people tell me that they would have never met that other person if they had never gone on this trip. One of my favorite stories from the first year was this teenage girl and this older, he was a retired man in his late 70s, happened to form this friendship, and he was telling her about this old candy bar that he loved as a teenager or as a child, but that they just don't make it anymore. And on the way home, we stopped at a convenience store, and she happened to find that candy bar and got to buy it for this man who believed that it was never out there anymore. We're building real communities at our church through Hinton's help. I recommend calling Hinton for any time when you need to settle down your roots, to center yourself, and to view real fruit growing in your own local church.